Matthew 8, let's try that again. Matthew 8, 14 to 34. So what does it mean to follow Jesus? We have a story there, a very brief story of someone who wants to follow him. And he makes a couple of comments. Easiest answer, it's a good answer in many ways, is to do what Jesus does. It's to emulate his thoughts, his reactions, his relationships with people. But we don't have to go very far when we realize that that doesn't work, in the sense that Jesus is, in the story of Scripture, a single Jewish male who has no home, thus no mortgage. He has no cars to take care of and no house to take care of and things like that. So, again, you don't have to go very far down that path, realizing that our lives, my life does not match his life. And without a wife and children, frankly, my life does not match Jesus on a lot of levels because of what my life ends up including. What does following Jesus mean? I think very clearly what we have him saying to these people in the story as well as elsewhere, it means to understand Yahweh through his explanation of Yahweh. And as I watch Jesus live out his life, I learn who Yahweh is. I learn what he's like. I learn how my relationships with other people should be conducted, because of the kind of God that Yahweh is. So I believe that's what it means to follow him. I may or may not have a place to lay my head at night, depending on God's will. Well, we meet again in our story. It's actually in Mark and Luke, as well as in Matthew, this Gadarene Demoniac, and I just listed some of the things that are in all of the Gospels. All three stories of the Gospels have these statements in common. Let's quickly think through how it goes. This demoniac lives among tombs, and that's a very common element in the history of demon possession, that the idea of a cemetery or living around dead people seems to be very common. Again, that's just outside of the Bible. Superhuman strength, very common. And here is the story of a man breaking chains. All three of them have them recognizing who Jesus is. They say, Jesus, Son of the Most High Theos. They're very careful about how they describe who Jesus is. He is the intimate Son, or the intimate one with the highest Theos. Of course, they are Theoi themselves. Demons are gods in the ancient world. And they match up very well in the Old Testament stories of Elohim. So here is one Elohim meeting another, one Theos meeting another, and he is claiming that Jesus is the Son of the highest one. Of course, this don't torment us, very interesting. That is appealing back to the Old Testament promise of Jeremiah 10 and Isaiah 24. And elsewhere, that God will someday, Psalm 82, that God will someday punish evil spirits, and so they know their end. And when they see Jesus, they're getting a story that's out of order. In other words, they know their end is to come, that of torment, but they see Jesus, as it were, at halftime of world history saying, well, this is far earlier than we thought. Will this bring our torment earlier than we thought? Interestingly, they asked not to leave the country in Mark and not want to go to the abyss in Luke. We're not sure exactly what's going on here. Again, we can't think like them, but it is consistent again in the Old Testament for Samuel 26, verse 19, where David goes across a border over to Moab, and he says, that's why I have to serve other gods. When I enter a place where gods rule, this idea of cosmic geography that we learned in the Old Testament, then when I leave Yahweh's inheritance, David's saying in 1 Samuel 26, I have to stop worshiping Yahweh. That was in just the mind of the ancient, that when you cross a boundary, you were, in one sense, moving into the territory of another spirit or another god. Genesis 32 has the story of Jacob crossing the Jabbok River and immediately meeting a demon and wrestling with this divine being overnight. Remember that. And that river seems to be the dividing line historically between God's, Yahweh's inheritance and another God. So it's just interesting stories again that really match up here, how this demon does not want to leave the area that he's in, probably because he would have to share space with a competing demon or something like that. They want to enter swine, and then of course they go into the water. And again, in ancient thought, water also housed demons again. So the idea of these swine running into the water could have been because the swine or the demons felt at home there. There's so much going on here that we don't understand, but again, we can't think like them, so we just have to understand the story for what it is. I find, and of course, Jesus heals this man, and the last thing we hear is that the people who are watching this story of this demon-possessed man coming to his right mind fear Jesus, and they tell him to leave. This really fits, by the way, and I know I'm going ahead in the Bible, but it's often missed. And in fact, I am not aware of any commentator who makes this connection, so let me make it. 1 Timothy 3:16. Much later, of course, in Paul's writings, he makes this statement. And he has a 6-point outline of Jesus' life, and he says this: He was manifested in the flesh, he was vindicated in the Spirit, vindicated by the spirits, or the world of the spirits. Vindicated. You are Jesus, the Son of God. Then he has this phrase, this is 1 Timothy 3:16, seen by angels. I think that's right here. An angel, again, the ancient, or the Greek word angelos can stand for theoi or Elohim, just a general term. Seen by, revealed to angels. So when they say this, we have this great moment where the angelic world is realizing what they have in front of them. Proclaimed among the Gentiles. That's why they feared him. They realized, these people realized they're dealing with someone who gets to tell the spiritual world where to go, how high to jump. And that's what makes these people fear Jesus. Believed on in the world and taken up into glory. 1 Timothy 3:16. Oh, and by the way, the first line of 1 Timothy 3:16 is all the more interesting. This is in the New English Translation. We all must agree our religion contains amazing revelation.